Hey guys, Loot Wizard here with another video on Gems of War, and in this one I'm going to be going over a team that works for high level Tower of Doom. So right now I'm at floor 20, and once you get this high, things are really difficult to kill unless you have a team that either increases your spell damage or skull damage by a lot. So I'm going to be relying on skull damage primarily, and I will be showing my team here. And so far, it's worked pretty good for the last like 5 floors from 15 to 20. It shouldn't have any problem. It does rely on a little bit of luck as far as what gems are on the board. But I'll just go over it here briefly. In the first place, I am using the new weapon that came out with the new Sentinel class, which is the Shield of Urskaya. And I do have it fully upgraded so that it has all the different good stuff on it. It stuns the first enemy, enrages you, which does more attack damage. It barriers itself when it's cast on you. It gives an ally 35 armor boosted by all enemy attack. Then enrage and barrier them. So barrier is very important for the Doom event here because it will protect you from that high level damage that they do, skull or spell. Also here, give an ally the 35 armor boosted by all enemy attack. The enemy's attack is going to be like 150 for each enemy, so a lot of armor is going to be added to whichever troop that you cast this on. I've been casting it on the hero in the first place for a good reason, which I am using the Mechanist class, and I do have it at level 100. So now some of the things that I use here you can unlock at like level 20 and 40. The main thing that I really am using, well, two main things I'm using this class for, and that is the Tree of Knowledge that's unlocked at level 70, which is gain enchant when matching green gems, which is really helpful because sometimes on the board you don't have a brown gem match to get your mana for your weapon, so that comes in very useful. And the other one, which I believe is unlocked at level 40, is Razor Armor. It adds 20% of armor to skull damage. Now, this is very important, and it works good for this weapon because this weapon is going to be adding hundreds of armor to my hero when I cast it on myself because it's boosted by all the enemy attack. Now, 20% of that armor is going to be added to skull damage. So let's say that I get my armor up to like 500 armor. Well, 20% of that is going to be added to my skull damage. So I'll be doing over 100 skull damage just based on that. Now, in a couple of Dooms, I've reached 1,000 armor already, which 20% of that's 200, right? So that would be 200 skull damage added to your base attack. So that really helps out a lot. Also, quickly here, I think there was one other thing in the talents that was pretty useful. Yeah, it was Vanguard, gain barrier at the start of battle. So right away when you start the battle, you're going to have a barrier, which is good. So normally I use Titan for a lot of things in these events, but Mechanist here with the Razor Armor especially comes in very useful. And it does have the barrier at the start of the battle. And the one thing that Titan does not have is Tree of Knowledge, which is gain enchant when matching green gems. Also, we don't really need Titan's barrier on brown matches because we have barrier whenever we cast the weapon on ourselves. And so in the second spot, what I do have is one of the Delve faction troops from the Hall of Guardians called the Ethereal Sentry. Now, this thing is pretty awesome because when it's traded, it reduces damage from skulls by 25%, but then it also reduces damage from spells by 50%. So it's going to be very resilient against enemy attacks. But the main thing that I'm using it for is it increases an ally's attack by their armor. So when I cast Urskaya Shield on my own troop hero here, he will gain a lot of armor, 300 armor at a time. And then once I get this guy, the Sentry, up with its mana, I will cast it on the hero, and then I'll gain a couple hundred attack. Third place, I'm using Ragnagord simply as a mana generator to kind of move the board around a little bit, gain some mana. And the dragon guy here Sylvanimora I am using primarily just for its entangle trait. Entangle the first enemy on 4 and 5 matches, which will reduce the enemy's attack to 0, which definitely helps out for keeping our hero alive until we get its armor up there really high. So that is the team I'm using. As for the banner, I just went with the bear banner, double brown red, so that Ragnagord gets an extra red, and I'm not using any purple. And the double brown is obviously for the Shield of Urskaya weapon and the Sentry. So let's go in here and I'll show it off in action. Well, like I said, some of this relies on a little bit of luck at the beginning here, just what gems you have on the board. Here we have a skull that we have to match, even though we're not going to do much damage. We got lucky with a brown match there, which filled up my hero. So I'm going to go ahead and cast it on myself. But now look here, I have 81 armor to start with. And all the enemy attack, they all have about 100. So that's about 400 attack. And I just gained almost 300 armor off of that. And now, once I get my Sentry up, which that was pretty quick because it has a low mana cost, I'm going to cast it on the hero, and now my attack is 370. But now remember, we also have Razor Armor talent on that, so 20% of our armor is also going to be added to our attack. So I'm going to be doing well over 400 attack right now once I match a skull. So we're going to keep going here, and we're going to try to find brown or green if we can, so we can get our hero up here again. I'll cast it on myself. Now my armor's up there, and I have barrier. The only thing that isn't great about this team is that you have to kind of get lucky with the board like that, as far as skulls coming down and matching them. But as you can see, I took that guy out with 1 hit. And that's one of the reasons why I have Ragnagord in here too, is that if there's no skulls on the board, I can get him up and he'll explode the board so that I can get more skulls coming down. But let's go ahead and cast the Sentry here again on the hero, and my attack is now at 946 because it boosted it based upon my armor. I'll go ahead and cast this on myself again. Now my armor's up to 716. And now it's pretty much just, you just wait for skulls to come down and then you just one hit the enemy. It's almost like a Mang weapon, except it's better than Mang. But it takes 2 different troops to really make it work good. This troop right here is essential because it increases its attack based on the armor that you give yourself with the weapon there, the shield. And the problem that I've found with Mang is that Mang does increase its attack based on the armor destroyed. So I would get a lot of attack, but then my health and armor would be very, very small. And if you don't have a troop to boost that, it's very fragile. And that barrier did save me from some initial damage, which was great. Now we got 400 and something armor. And let's try to get our... Oh, we do have a skull poke right away. And we got a 4 match there, which used the 3rd trait of what's its name? Sylvanimora. It's a long name there for that dragon. So let's just try to get more brown here. And see, he didn't do any damage to me because he was entangled. And now I do have my hero troop up. I'm going to cast it on myself again. And now this is the real fun part. Once you have a high armor like that and you get your Sentry here up, it's going to increase an ally's attack by their armor. So I got 725 armor. Bam, it just added that to my attack. Now I'm over 700 attack. Now I just gotta wait for skulls to come down, and it's gonna be one hit damage to everything. One hit kill, I mean. Alright, let's get, I don't see any skulls I can match, so let's use Ragnagord, and I'm gonna explode the board, and hopefully you'll get some skulls that'll line up. And I do have this guy up again, so let's use that. Now I have 1,000 attack. That's the highest you can go. And I don't have any skulls matching, so let's go ahead and match a red for my Ragnagord here. Explode the board again. And I gave him a skull match, but it's not a problem because he's entangled. Hang on here, we'll take that match. And no skulls yet. That's the only problem with this team, is that I don't have a sure way of getting skull matches. But that's why I have Ragnagord here, and so I can continue to explode things. Now, unfortunately, this enemy right here is going to be a problem, this Astral Spirit, because it does true damage to the first enemy. So it could kill me in like 2 hits if I don't get barrier back up. So that's why that enchant, the Tree of Knowledge talent, comes in handy. Because when I'm matching green gems, I get enchanted. So I didn't have any brown, but I had green, because I need to get that up again so I can get barrier. We're going to go ahead and explode the board. And there we go. We got skulls that came down. We got lucky. Just killed both of them. Yeah. That's floor 20. Yeah, it was floor 20. Nice. Alright. Well, there you go, guys. That was my my team right now. I don't know how high I'll be able to get with it, but yeah. Alright, guys. Thanks for watching. Later.